Los Pumas redirects here. For the Mexican football team, see Club Universidad Nacional. The Argentina national rugby team, nicknamed Los Pumas, represents Argentina in international rugby union matches. The team, which plays in sky blue and white jerseys, is organized by the Argentine Rugby Union. Argentina played its first international rugby match in 1910 against a touring British Isles team. As of October 2015 they are ranked 4th in the world by the IRB, making them the highest-ranked nation in the Americas. They have competed at every Rugby World Cup staged since the inaugural tournament of 1987, and the country may be considered the strongest within the Americas in all-time World Cup competition, undefeated against all but Canada, against whom they have suffered 3 losses. Although rugby union is nowhere near as popular as football in Argentina, Los Pumas' impressive results since the 1999 World Cup have seen this sport's popularity grow significantly. Argentina has achieved several upset victories, are tough contenders when playing in Buenos Aires, and are fully capable of regularly defeating Six Nations sides. A surprise victory over the hosts France in the first game of the 2007 World Cup took Argentina to 4th in the IRB World Rankings. The team were undefeated in their pool, and reached the semi-finals for the first time, beating Scotland 19-13 in their quarter-final. They were defeated 37-13 by eventual winners South Africa in the semi-finals, but followed this up with a second win over France to claim 3rd place overall. In March 2008 the team reached an all-time high of 3rd in the IRB World Rankings. After their advances in competitiveness and performance during the 2000s, coupled with their location in the Southern Hemisphere, Argentina was the only Tier 1 nation that had no regular competition, and some, among them former Pumas captain Augusto N. Picot, have even spoken of them joining the Six Nations. Argentina officially joined the Rugby Championship in a meeting in Buenos Aires on November 23, 2011. Where in their first tournament in 2012, Argentina secured a 16-16 draw with the Springboks in only their second game. The 2014 Rugby Championship saw the first championship match win for Argentina, who defeated Australia 21-17, and the last match of the 2015 Rugby Championship was Argentina's first ever win over South Africa, where the Pumas defeated the Springboks 37-25 in Durban. The Pumas confirmed this progress by reaching another semi-final at the 2015 Rugby World Cup. History = early years = The first rugby union match in Argentina was played in 1873, the game having been brought to Argentina by British immigrants. In 1899, 4 clubs in Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires, joined together to form the River Plate Rugby Football Union. In 1910 a side managed by Oxford University supposedly the England national team, but including 3 Scottish players toured Argentina as part of the celebrations for the 100th anniversary of the Revolución Cubana de Mayo. The people of Argentina termed it the Combined British, also known as Great Britain 15. Argentina made its international debut against this team under the name the River Plate Rugby Football Union on June 12. The match was played at Belgrano Athletic Field and Argentina lost 28-3. The only try for the local team was scored by C.J. McCarthy of Belgrano Athletic. The Argentina lineup was Safri, McCarthy, Gebbie, Borvitt, Donnelly, Greibel, Heyman, Hetley, Henrys, Harriet, Mould, Reed, Sawyer, Watson and Talbot, being all of them descendant of British immigrants. In 1927 the British Isles Lions toured Argentina for second time, with the Lions winning all 9 encounters. The tour did however become a financial success for Argentine rugby. Of the 9 encounters, 4 tests were played, which Argentina lost by over 30 points in all. All the games took place in Buenos Aires. The important fact was that all the players on the field were Argentine-born. 5 years passed until another international team would return to Argentina, which would be the Junior Springboks in 1932, playing a 2-match series. Argentina lost both matches. In 1936 the British Isles visited Argentina again, winning all 10 of their matches and only conceding 9 points in the whole tour. Only one test was played on the tour, with Argentina losing 23-0. The following month Argentina left the country to play their first away tests against Chile in Valparaiso. Argentina won the first test, 29-0. The second match was won by a similar margin. 2 years later Argentina hosted Chile, which resulted in Argentina winning by 30 points. Post-war equals. At the first South American tournament, in 1951, Argentina accounted for Uruguay 62-0, Brazil 72-0 and win against Chile by 13-3. At the second South American tournament, in 1958, Argentina accounted for Uruguay 50-3 and Peru 44-0, and finally Argentina emerged victorious against the hosts Chile in Santiago, by 14-0. In 1959 the junior Springboks returned to Buenos Aires, winning both fixtures 14-6, and 20-5. 1960s, Los Pumas equals. In 1960, France visited Buenos Aires for a 3-match series against Argentina. The hosts still could not get their first win over the French, with France winning all 3 tests 37-3, 12-3 and 29-6. The following year Argentina again showed their dominance on a continental level, winning the South American tournament held in Montevideo, by beating Brazil 60-0, Uruguay 36-3 and Chile 11-3. In 1964 a new version of the South American tournament was played in San Pablo and Argentina again achieved huge victories over Uruguay, Brazil and Chile. In the late 1960s the 4 home unions began tours to Argentina, and after Wales struggled in both tests in Buenos Aires in 1967 it became clear that Argentina would be a difficult place to win a series. Scotland lost the first test in 1968, but won a close second test 2 weeks later. The first trip of the Argentina national rugby team to the other side of the Atlantic was to Rhodesia and South Africa in 1965. The team acquired the nickname Pumas, from a local journalist after their first tour match, a defeat on May 8 by Rhodesia in Salisbury 17-12. The book Be Pumas recalls the weekly Farmer of Rhodesia magazine commenting on the emblem embroidered on the tourists' jerseys was like a puma rather than a jaguar. After defeats by Salisbury and Northern Transvaal, the first win came against Western Transvaal, another against Southwest Africa country districts and finally against the Southern universities. The Pumas scored a landmark win of 11-6 against the junior Springboks. They were welcomed home to Buenos Aires by a huge crowd. The tour had harvested 11 victories, 1 draw and 4 defeats over 2 months. A match was then organised against the French champions Section Palois, although the match was remembered for the uproar and misconduct of both teams rather than the Argentine victory. Then Oxford and Cambridge arrived, a team that the Pumas had never beaten. The first match finished level at 19-19 and the second saw the university students triumph 9-3. 1965 ended with a match against Chile, which the Pumas won 23-11. In 1966, the Gazelles arrived, a kind of a junior Springboks B team. The visitors took 2 victories 9-3 and 20-15. In September 1967, Argentina played in Buenos Aires in the South American Championship with victories over Uruguay 38-6 and Chile 18-0. Wales arrived in Buenos Aires in 1968 and for the first time in their history the Pumas were able to triumph in a series, winning the first match 9-5 and drawing the second 9-9. The first great decade in Argentine rugby came to a close with the arrival of Scotland in 1969. The first match saw a big Argentine victory 20-3, but in the second game the visitors narrowly won 6-3. 1970s and 1980s equals. Through the 1970s, Argentina confirmed its steady rise towards top-tier status under the influence of its first truly world-class player, fly half Hugo Porter. During their European tour in 1976, the Pumas came tantalizingly close to a historic victory at Cardiff Arms Park over Wales, then the dominant force in the Northern Hemisphere. Only a Phil Bennett penalty on a foul by Gabriel Travaglini at the death allowed the Welsh to escape with a 20-19 victory. 2 years later Argentina returned for their 1978 European Tour and held a virtually full-strength England 15-13 draw before losing 6-19 to Italy. From the late 70s to the early 90s, Argentina never lost the 2 matches of a series held in Buenos Aires, in a period that included victories against France, England, Australia and a 21-21 tie to the All Blacks, which is probably the most important result ever obtained by the Pumas, thanks to an outstanding performance by Hugo Porta who scored all of Argentina's points. Late 20th century by the time the first Rugby World Cup was held in Australia and New Zealand, in 1987, Argentines were confident their national team would at least make it to quarter-finals. However, an unexpected loss to Fiji prevented the team from clinching the first round. Argentina won their first ever World Cup game when they defeated Italy in Christchurch. Over the following years, the retirement of many of Argentina's most experienced players, and the defection of many others to professional leagues left Argentina with an inexperienced side. This led to disappointing performances in the 1991 and 1995 World Cups, although in the latter Argentina presented a powerful pack which was praised by the international media. Argentina's tight head prop, Patricio Noriega and hooker, Federico Marcopiritendez, went to play in Australia and South Africa respectively after their performance. Noriega even played for the Wallabies. In 1999, a more experienced and somewhat underrated Argentina made it to the World Cup quarter-finals for the first time. They had finished second in their group to Wales, and went on to the quarter-final playoffs. After a vibrant 28-24 win against Ireland, they were eliminated by France, 28-47, in the quarter-final. Gonzalo Quezada was the highest overall points scorer in the tournament with 102. The new millennium . In April 2000, Marcelo Lofrada was appointed coach of Argentina. Argentina participated in the 2003 World Cup, but missed out on progressing to the quarter-finals due to a 15-16 loss to Ireland. Because of the fixture list, Argentina had to play 4 games in a fortnight, whereas Ireland played the same number of games in 4 weeks. In 2004 Argentina showed good form, splitting a mid-year 2-test home series with Wales. Los Pumas handed defending Six Nations champion France a 24-14 loss in November 2004 at Marseille, before losing 21-19 to Ireland on a last-minute drop goal. After returning to Argentina, the Pumas lost 39-7 to the visiting Springboks. However, the Pumas were without 10 regular starters who had returned to their club teams in Europe. Perhaps one of the Pumas' best matches of the decade came on May 23, 2005, when they played the British and Irish Lions in Cardiff before the Lions tour to New Zealand. The Pumas chose a side of second and third choice players as 25 players were unavailable due to club commitments. An inspired Pumas performance, combined with lackluster play by a mostly second choice Lions side, put Argentina on the verge of a great upset until a Johnny Wilkinson penalty at the death salvaged a 25-25 draw and the Lions avoided a humiliating defeat. When the Springboks returned to Argentina in November of that year at VAR copyright Les Tsars Field, they faced a much stronger Pumas side, with most of their European-based players present. The Pumas took a 20-16 lead into the half-time break, before fading the second half and losing 34-23. The following week, the Pumas defeated Scotland 23-19 Murrayfield for the Pumas' 5th consecutive win over Scotland since 1990. In the 2006 mid-year tests, Argentina swept Wales in a 2-test tour for their first test series win over Wales. Argentina won the first test 27-25, in the first Argentina test in Patagonia. The second test at VAR copyright Les Tsars Field saw the Pumas win 45-27, Argentina's largest win ever over Wales. Los Pumas next hosted the All Blacks at VAR copyright Les Tsars Field. the All Blacks survived a Pumas assault in the final minutes to hang on to win 25-19 and to deny Argentina a huge upset. Argentina then defeated Chile 60-13 in Santiago and defeated Uruguay 26-0 at home to qualify for the 2007 Rugby World Cup. The 2006 end-of-year tests began with a bang for Los Pumas, as they handed England a 25-18 defeat at Twickenham, resulting in the fans booing the England team off the pitch. Further success followed for the Pumas, defeating Italy in Rome, and coming within 1 point of beating France in Paris. The Sunday Times of London reported in February 2007 that the IRB was brokering a deal with SAMSA, the body that organises the Tri-Nations, to admit Los Pumas to the competition. However, the Sunday Times indicated that one of the biggest stumbling blocks was the UAR's commitment to amateurism. By August of that year, it became clear that the competition would not be expanded until the key SAMSA media contract with News Corporation expired in 2010. An IRB spokesman noted the contract, Southern Hemisphere fixture congestion, and the lack of a professional structure in Argentina as reasons that Los Pumas could not be admitted any sooner. 2007 World Cup semi-final. Los Pumas began their final preparation for the 2007 Rugby World Cup with a summer 2-test series against visiting Ireland, with a 22-20 win at Santa Fe, and a 16-0 win at VAR copyright Les Zarrosfield. Los Pumas then completed a clean sweep of their mid-year tests with a 24-6 win over Italy in Mendoza. They split their final warm-up tests, defeating Chile 70-14 at CASI in Buenos Aires, before losing to Wales 20-27 at Millennium Stadium. At the World Cup, Los Pumas were drawn into the so-called Pool of Death, featuring two other teams ranked in the top 6 in the IRB rankings: Ireland and the hosts France. On top of this, they opened the World Cup at Stade de France against the French, marking the third consecutive World Cup in which they played against the host nation in the World Cup opener. The Pumas took a 17-9 lead into the half, and held on for a surprising 17-12 win. The Pumas subsequently beat Georgia 33-3 at the Stade de Goland, Lyon. Argentina then beat Namibia 63-3 in Marseille, the biggest winning margin in Argentine World Cup history. They then secured a 30-15 victory against Ireland, which ensured that Argentina topped the group. Argentina then defeated Scotland 19-13 in the quarter-final at the Stade de France. The Pumas' improbable run towards the Webb Ellis Trophy ended in a comprehensive 37-13 defeat by the Springboks in the semi-final at Stade de France. However, the Pumas recovered to beat France for the second time in the 2007 Rugby World Cup, a 34-10 win in the third/fourth place playoff. The third place showing for the Pumas in the 2007 Rugby World Cup was Argentina's best ever result in Rugby World Cup history. Argentina's performance marked the first time that a team from outside the Six Nations or Tri-Nations competition reached the semi-finals of the Rugby World Cup, and gave renewed momentum propelling Argentina towards joining one of those competitions. During their World Cup run, the normally football-crazed Argentines embraced the Pumas so much that El Superclásico, the Buenos Aires football derby between Boca Juniors and River Plate, was rescheduled so that it would not conflict with the Pumas' quarter-final match. As the only major Spanish-language country in the 2007 Rugby World Cup, the Pumas also had considerable support from rugby fans in Spain, Uruguay, and other Latin American countries during their impressive 5-game winning streak. After the 2007 World Cup. In November 2007, in the wake of Argentina's World Cup run, the future status of Los Pumas was a key topic of discussion at an IRB conference on the future worldwide growth of the sport. The decisions made at the conference regarding Argentina were, the Pumas will play more annual tests, increasing from the previous 6 tests per year to 9 by 2010. The team would play 4 tests in the June test window, 3 in November, and 2 during the Six Nations window in February and March. Between 2008 and 2010, Argentina would develop a domestic professional structure, with the goal of having the majority of Argentine professionals playing at home. Sometime around 2012, Los Pumas will then be fully integrated into the Southern top-flight rugby playing structure. On March 13, 2008, Santiago Phelan was named as the coach of the Argentine Rugby Union team, filling the vacancy left by Marcelo Lofreda. On June 7, 2008, the Pumas beat Scotland 21-15 in Rosario, Argentina, thus maintaining their position as the third highest-ranked team in the IRB rankings. In June 2009, the British media reported that Argentina were lobbying for the 2013 British and Irish Lions tour to Australia to incorporate provincial games and test matches in Argentina, but nothing came of this proposal. Argentina failed to get a test series victory under Phelan, with a draw against Scotland in 2008 and England in 2009, before losing 2-0 to Scotland in 2010. 2011 Rugby World Cup World Cup preparations for Los Pumas began with a drawn 1-1 series against the French Barbarians, a 78-15 win against a South American Invitational 15, and a 21-15 victory against the Aviva Premiership club Worcester Warriors. In their only international test warm-up match, Los Pumas lost 28-13 to Wales in Cardiff. Los Pumas kicked off their 2011 World Cup with a 13-9 loss against England, a match which they led for over 60 minutes. They next beat Romania 43-8. The following match against Scotland decided which team would reach the quarter-finals. A late try by replacement fullback Lucas Gonzalez Amorosino and a successful conversion meant Los Pumas won 13-12. Argentina finished the pool stage by winning 25-9 against Georgia. Argentina's final match of the tournament was the quarter-final against eventual champions All Blacks. In a surprisingly close first half, Argentina led 7-6 after 30 minutes following a try by Julio Farias Cabello. As the game went on, the All Blacks began to dominate, leading to a final score of 33-10. While not as glamorous as the 2007 tournament for the Pumas, their campaign was considered relatively successful as they qualified for the quarter-finals from a pool that featured England and Scotland, and put up a valiant quarter-final display against the All Blacks. It marked the first time that Argentina qualified for the quarter-finals in 2 consecutive World Cup tournaments. 2012, the Rugby Championship in 2012. Argentina again drew a test series against France. 2012 saw a major breakthrough for the Pumas, as they joined the Rugby Championship against New Zealand, Australia and South Africa. This was the first time Argentina participated in an annual Tier 1 international competition. Argentina played its first match of the 2012 Rugby Championship against South Africa in Cape Town on August 18, 2012, losing 27-6. Argentina quickly recovered 1 week later in Mendoza to achieve a 16-16 score against South Africa, its first draw in history against the Springboks. Argentina acquitted themselves well against Australia, losing 19-23 and then 19-25 to earn a losing bonus point in each match. Argentina also played respectably against the All Blacks in New Zealand, with Argentina keeping the score 5-6 at the half before losing 5-21. Despite ending bottom of the table with just 4 points and no wins in their inaugural season, Argentina proved hard to beat when home. In the November 2012 Test Series, Argentina beat Wales at the Millennium Stadium, and lost against France and Ireland also on the road. In June 2013, the team lost both matches against England and Argentina, and beat Tier 2 squad Georgia. Argentina lost 2-0 to England in 2013, including a record 32-3 defeat in the opening test, the biggest losing margin Argentina has had against England on home soil. Argentina achieved the occasional upset, including a 9-6 win over Scotland at Murrayfield Stadium in Edinburgh and a 26-12 win over Wales, who at the time were the Six Nations Grand Slam champions, at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. In 2013, Argentina began their second tournament with a record-breaking 73-13 defeat by South Africa, which was South Africa's biggest winning margin over Argentina. In the reverse fixture at home in round 2, Argentina proved to be a formidable team, but lost narrowly to South Africa 17-22. In round 3 they played New Zealand, who was victorious in the match 28-13. In round 4, they lost to Australia in Perth 14-13. In the corresponding home fixture, Argentina lost 54-17 to Australia, a record-losing margin against Australia at home. It was the second year in a row with Argentina finishing bottom of the table at the Rugby Championship, this time losing all matches. On October 21, 2013, Phelan stepped down from his post as Los Pumas head coach, 1 year early from the end of his contract. Over the 45 matches that he coached in his 5-year tenure, he earned 13 wins, 31 defeats and 1 draw. Daniel Arcade was hired as new Pumas head coach in October 2013. In November 2013, the Pumas were beaten by England and Wales in Twickenham and Cardiff, and later won against Italy in Rome. In the 2014 mid-year Rugby Union internationals, Argentina lost their games against Ireland and Scotland. On October 5, 2014, Los Pumas achieved their first ever win in the Rugby Championship, defeating Australia 21-17 at the Estadio Malvinas Argentinas in Mendoza, their first win over Australia in 17 years. Despite that win, Argentina finished in last place in the Rugby Championship for the third consecutive year. In the 2014 European end-of-year tests, Argentina lost to Scotland, and beat Italy and France. In the 2015 Rugby Championship, beat South Africa for the first time 37-25. Colors, symbol and name. Argentina alternated blue and white jerseys during its first international matches in 1910. In 1927 Mr. Abelardo Gucia, copywriter REZ of Gimnasia y Esgrima de Buenos Aires, proposed that Argentina should play against British Lions in a striped white and light blue jersey. That request was accepted and Argentina wore the striped uniform for the first time in its history. Los Pumas play in a shirt in the country's flag colors of light blue and white shorts, and socks in light blue and white. In 2011, the UAR signed a deal with Nike, which became the exclusive kit provider for all its national senior and youth teams, including Pampas 15. The first uniform designed by the American company left the traditional horizontal striped jersey behind, featuring a single light blue with white shoulders jersey, although it was announced that Los Pumas will wear its traditional uniform again when they play the 2012 Rugby Championship. On September 1941, Abelardo Gucia, copywriter REZ, suggested a badge with the figure of a lion. The color of the crest was blue. The animal was later replaced by a native to Argentine species, so the jaguar was chosen due to his agility and courage, according to their words. The Pumas nickname is the result of an error made by Carl Kohler, a journalist for the then Die Transvaal newspaper in South Africa, while following the team during their first overseas tour ever to Southern Africa in 1965. He tried to devise a catchy nickname for the team similar to existing international team nicknames such as All Blacks, Springboks, and Wallabies. He asked Isaac van Heerden, the then coach of the NATO rugby team who was asked by the SARB to assist with the tour, for ideas. They saw a picture of a type of lion with spots on the UAR crest. Kohler was aware that the Americas had jaguars and pumas, and as he was under pressure to submit his article, made a guess and called them the Pumas, instead of the actual jaguar. The mistake stuck, and was eventually adopted by the Argentines themselves. Uniform evolution notes, 1. The team alternated white and blue jerseys during that period. Kit suppliers Home grounds. The Pumas use a variety of stadiums when playing at home. One of the most frequently used for tests is VAR copyright Les Zarros Field in Buenos Aires. When Great Britain first came to Argentina in the Tour of 1910, the first Argentina test was played in Buenos Aires. During the mid-year tests in 2007, as well as VAR copyright Les Zarros Field, Argentina played games at venues including Estadio BG Estanislo La Cubed Pez in Santa Fe, Estadio Malvinas Argentinas in Mendoza, and Estadio Gigante de Arauto, in Rosario. Argentina have also used the River Plate Stadium in the past, and in 2006 hosted Wales at Estadio Royal Conti in Puerto Madryn. Record overall Argentina have won 219 of their 403 test matches, a win record of 54.34%. When the world rankings were introduced by the IRB in October 2003, Argentina were ranked 7th. They fell to 8th in the rankings in June 2004, before rising back to 7th by November that year. They fell back to 8th in February 2005, and stayed there until falling to their lowest ranking of 9th in February 2006. Since then, Argentina rose to 8th in July 2006, then 6th in November of that year. They had a one-week fall to 7th, then 1 week later rose to 5th to start the World Cup 2007. Los Pumas twice surpassed their highest ranking at the 2007 Rugby World Cup. Defeating number 3 France, the first opening game loss for a World Cup hosting nation, moved them into 4th place, their highest position since the IRB World Rankings were established. They lost to eventual champions South Africa in the semi-final but beat France yet again in the bronze medal round to set another highest ranking, 3rd, behind South Africa and New Zealand. Argentina has won every match against South American national teams, including 31 against Uruguay, 28 against Chile, 16 against Paraguay and 11 against Brazil. In contrast, they have never beaten New Zealand, having scored a draw against them. Below is table of the representative rugby matches played by an Argentina national 15 at test level up until October 25, 2015. Rugby World Cup The Rugby Championship updated, August 8, 2015 Source, easternscrum.com. Players Current squad Argentina 31-man squad for the 2015 Rugby World Cup. Marta As-Dar-Az suffered an injury and was replaced in the squad by Juan Pablo Orlandi. Head coach, Daniel Arcade, caps updated, October 25, 2015. Note: flags indicate national union for the club provinces defined by World Rugby. Coaches, 1932 Edmundo Kundu Stanfield, 1936, Louis Silly, Edmundo Stanfield and C. Huntley Robertson. 1954, Juan C. Wells. 1956, Dermot Kavanagh and Horatio Savino. 1959, Jorge Merrill, 1960, Robert Gallagher, 1965, Isaac Van Heerden, Alberto Camada Cubden and Angel Gorstella. 1965 Euro 66, Alberto Camada Cubden and Angel Gorstella. 1967 Euro 70, Alberto Camada Cubden, Angel Gorstella and Jorge Merrill. 1971, Angel Gorstella and Eduardo Poggi. 1972 Euro 73, Angel Gorstella, Eduardo Poggi and Oscar Martinez Bazanti. 1974, Carlos Villegas, Emilio Pirasso and Jorge Merrill. 1975, Eduardo Poggi and Eduardo Scarenberg. 1976 Euro 77, Carlos Villegas and Emilio Pirasso. 1978, Angel Gorstella, age retire ±0 and Jose copyright Elmhoff. 1979 Euro 80, Luis Grada N and age retire ±0. 1981 Euro 83, Rodolfo O'Reilly. 1984, Ha copyright Kta Silva and age retire ±0. 1985 Euro 86, Ha copyright Kta Silva, age retire ±0 and Angel Gorstella. 1987, Ha copyright Kta Silva and Angel Gorstella. 1988 Euro 90, Rodolfo O'Reilly and Raw L. Sands. 1990 Euro 91, Luis Grada N and Guillermo Lamarca. 1992, Luis Grada N and John Hart. 1993 Euro 94, Ha copyright Kta Ma copyright Ndez and Jose copyright J. Fernandez. 1995, Alejandro Petra and Riccardo Paganini. 1995, Alejandro Petra and Emilio Pirasso. 1996, Jose copyright Luis Imhoff, Jose copyright J. Fernandez, Ha copyright Kta Ma copyright Ndez and Alex Willie. 1997, Jose copyright Louis Imhoff, Ha copyright Ktamar copyright Nders and Alex Willie. 1998, Jose copyright Louis Imhoff and Alex Willie. 1999, Jose copyright Louis Imhoff and Alex Willie, next Ha copyright Ktamar copyright Nders and Willie, next Willie alone. 2000 Euro 2007, Marcelo Lofreda and Daniel Beatty. 2008 Euro 13, Santiago Phelan and Fabia N. Turns. 2013 Euro Daniel Arcade. After Marcelo Lofreda left following the 2007 Rugby World Cup, the UAR spent nearly 5 months searching for a successor until opting for a two-coach setup, with former Pumas Santiago Phelan and Fabia N. Turns taking over. On October 22, 2013, Phelan resigned from his post, ending a 5-year spell in charge 2 weeks before Argentina goes on tour as part of the 2013 end-of-year Rugby Union tests. On October 23, 2013, Argentina Jaguars and Pampas 15 head coach Daniel Arcade was named the new head coach and his current contract will run through until the 2015 Rugby World Cup. Individual all-time records. Most matches last updated, Australia vs Argentina. October 25, 2015. Statistics include officially capped matches only. Most tries Last updated, Australia vs Argentina, October 25, 2015. Statistics include officially capped matches only. Most points Last updated, Australia vs Argentina, October 25, 2015. Statistics include officially capped matches only. Most matches as captain last updated, Australia vs Argentina, October 25, 2015. Statistics include officially capped matches only. Most points in a match last updated, Australia vs Argentina, October 25, 2015. Statistics include officially capped matches only. Most tries in a match last updated, Australia vs Argentina, October 25, 2015. Statistics include officially capped matches only. Youngest players last updated, Australia vs Argentina, October 25, 2015. Statistics include officially capped matches only. Oldest players last updated, Australia vs Argentina, October 25, 2015. Statistics include officially capped matches only. See also, Argentina National Rugby Union Team, Puma Trophy, South American Jaguars, South American Rugby Championship, Churchill Cup, English Argentine. References. External links, official website, Los Pumas at Planet Rugby, Rugby Fun, Los Pumas at Rugby Time, Los Pumas at El Rugby, Argentina's Time in the Sun, BBC Sport, January 24, 2001, Puma Power, Argentinian Rugby, BBC Sport, April 24, 2006.